What's up, everyone, and welcome back to ClearTalk. So, in the vein of Trump and the GOP constantly breaking shit and not fixing it, or taking forever to fix it, we have here, we're going to talk about where the National Weather Service is now having to hire back positions that were laid off by or otherwise cut by the Trump administration and the DOGE and everything, back early in the year, and how while yes they are hiring back hundreds of positions, the progress is moving very slowly, and that the concerns about accuracies of weather going into this into the winter months here, and how much is that's going to affect our weather delivery services and the ability to address major issues that might occur, is a concern. So thank you very much for joining me here. If you are new to Clear Talk, welcome. If you would like to check out more videos from the channel, please consider doing so. Consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all that good stuff to help get more videos in front of more people. If you want to check out videos from other channels, JMDPLAY, puzzling there, if you like what you see there, consider subscribing to those as well. If you would like to give any kind of support, it's Patreon there. $3 a month can help support any of the channels you would like, to help grow those channels, help grow Patreon, help grow JMD Nation, and contribute however you would like. Any way you contribute, or any way you help out, is very much appreciated, and I thank you very much. And if you are returning, you're freaking amazing. Thank you very much for joining. Keep coming back because we love you here. All right. So yes, you remember when DOGE was going off, and we talked about this. I talked about this a little bit in the previous video, but when DOGE was in there, they were breaking stuff, firing people left and right from all kinds of agencies here, there, and stripping, coding, and getting into all kinds of like confidential kind of stuff. I mean, it was there's no end to the amount of corruption and like criminal, illegal shit that DOGE did. And now that a DOGE is officially over, even though Elon left months ago, that stuff is now officially over as of a couple weeks ago, and that department shut down, and all the fraud, waste, abuse, or whatever that they claim, which didn't really amount to much of anything. One of the big services that was affected by these layoffs was our National Weather Service. And that has been evident in, a lot throughout the summer, in the hurricane months, where, there were some struggle with getting out. I know a weather alerts and stuff like that, even from my local. I have a weather station here in my house, like the little radio thing that alerts me on stuff. I was noticing that me receiving those alerts for like severe weather that we may have been having coming through the area, tornado warnings or whatever, were much slower and last minute than they previously were. It used to be where we were getting, stuff well in advance. But we were getting alerts, over this past summer, and through, the severe weather, like major area, of the end of summer, August, September, stuff like that, where we were getting them very last minute before we would get the alarms. It was within like maybe 5 minutes at best of when something was going to approach. And that where before it was more like 10-15 minutes or more that we were getting alerts. So there was definitely, I could definitely see a change, a difference in how efficient the Weather Service was able to get alerts where they needed to get them, and whatever. But now there's even bigger concern as we go into the winter months and things that could happen. Luckily for us, we did have the few major hurricanes that we did have this season, they all steered clear of the mainland, and none of them actually made touch on U.S. mainland, and that is just about the most fortunate thing you could really ask for in our situation. Um, which, of course, Trump's cabinet and members that wanted to, that dealt with it or deal with those cuts and the NWS and everything, made it, like, I guess, as if that was because Trump was president, as if, I guess those, storms steered clear because they knew who was in power. It's so absurd. It's ridiculous. But I have an article here. The National Weather Service is working to hire back hundreds of positions laid off or otherwise cut by the Trump administration, but is processing at a snail's pace, with about 80 final job offers accepted for meteorologists, hydrologists, and other specialized staff. The agency received permission in late July to add a total of 450 people after about 550 were cut by DOGE earlier this year. I mean, take that into perspective. 550 people were cut, and they didn't realize in July that 450 of those needed to be hired back. Think about that. Like, that's pretty massive. That's pretty massive of that percentage. The decision to authorize new hires came from after lawmakers and citizens expressed concerns about how the NWS cuts would impact public safety. The slow hiring means the Weather Service is going into yet another critical storm season with more than a dozen forecast offices forced to get by with serious staff vacancies, potentially undermining the accuracy of forecasts and warnings during powerful winter storms. Similar concerns were raised ahead of hurricane season. Hurricanes, including 3 Category 5 storms, luckily stayed away from making landfall in the U.S. The administration is trying to put out a fire that they started, said Rick Spinrad, I guess, who led NOAA during the Biden administration. The 450 hires for the NWS won't even cover the full shortfall. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that even if NWS could hire 450 people tomorrow, he said, there is little chance that they would have the centuries of experience held by their predecessors. It takes 13 meteorologists to fully staff a weather forecast office on a 24/7 basis, though many WHS facilities are doing so with just 10 or 11 at the present time, said Tom Fay, the legislative director of the NWS employees organization, the union that represents agency staff. For example, the weather forecast office in Goodland, Kansas is short 8 meteorologists, according to statistics Fay compiled. That's wild. 8 meteorologists. He said that NWS offices in Rapid City, North Dakota, and Cheyenne, Wyoming, are also short 7 or 8 meteorologists, and that where new people have been hired, those individuals are not all in place. It takes time to move personnel and match people's skill sets with specific gaps in expertise around the country. Winter storms can be deadly, and short staffing at the NWS has the potential to erode forecast accuracy and delay warnings. I worry that timing, accuracy, and delivery of forecasts, watches, and warnings will degrade to the point of risking lives and property, Spinrad said. I envision one or more severe winter storms for each emergency managers, departments of transportation, and hospitals will be less prepared and forewarned than they have been historically. This is not a ding on the quality and professionalism of workforce at NWS, but we just don't have enough of those heroic public workers to get the job done. I mean, that's the issue, right? These are professional positions, people that should know and have high experience, or you at least, this administration has placed themselves on the pedestal of, we want to make sure that this is a merit-based system, so people have, but we fire all the people that are merited in the name of fraud and abuse, which is bullshit. That now we have to turn around and rehire positions for. And a lot of those people that, previously ran those positions, more than likely had to go find other jobs in their profession around the country. And so there's a good chance you won't be able to bring the same people back. So then you have to replace them, and whether or not you're replacing them with equal quality, or or whether or not they even have the precise expertise needed for certain positions that are vacant now, like, it is not something that can just quickly be handled, even if, like you said, you hired everybody today. So you've handicapped a very vital service that all Americans kind of expect to work and count on for their safety. And you've just short-staffed it. It's the idea of, like, someone like Trump, who is a businessman and thinks in a CEO-ish like mind, same like Elon, is that where they just make cuts, work bare bone, tack on as much work as possible to who you do keep and hold on to. Like, it's all about making cuts, but then you just lose the integrity and the expertise of what you're left with, and the ability and the efficiency of your business or whatever working properly, working effectively. Every time you cut somebody, you in some way hurt that area or that position or that expertise, that professional position, that of critical data or of critical structure or whatever. You've affected the ability and the benefit of that expertise. And tacking on more work for somebody else just makes what they were professional at and what they were capable of doing in their position even hindered, because now they have to take on more than what they previously did. And you cause opportunity for things to get missed or overlooked, or to not be identified effectively. And that's what you've had happen. That's what's happened here. And like I said, this is a major service that people depend on all across the country to provide accurate. And this is a system that has been developed and worked on over decades to improve and get better and better and more efficient and effective, so that people could get warnings and accuracy on better accuracy on whether and how things are going and moving, and where they're going and moving, and how they're going to affect you, and you get it in enough time for you to be able to react effectively and get yourself in a safe position so that you're less likely to be harmed by it. And this is something I've already talked about this back when it first happened about the NWS cuts and how crazy that was to make these cuts. And even though it was identified back in July after the cuts that those individuals would need to be brought back or replaced, cuts were made unnecessarily. They were made apparently without knowledge or the foresight to realize that they were vital positions. Go figure. Just like a lot of the other cuts that they made. And now you're having trouble bringing people back in or hiring for those positions because it's hard. It's that hard to find people in those professions that could equate to what you lost. Again, breaking shit without knowing what you're breaking and not having an actual solution for that. There is still one forecast office located in Hanford, California, that is too short on staffing to operate 24/7, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Office, who requested anonymity for fear of retribution. The NWS is part of NOAA within the Commerce Department. Additional NWS offices don't have enough staff to launch weather balloons at the standard rate of twice a day, instead of going down to one daily balloon launch or missing them altogether. Right now, there are 9 WS offices that are launching balloons at a cadence of once per day. This can have significant impact on forecasting, since readings on air temperature, humidity, air pressure, and winds from these balloons are fed directly into the computer models that forecasters use as guidance for issuing their predictions. Missing weather data on upper air conditions from the surface to about 40,000 feet can make those models less reliable. According to the NOAA office, the Weather Service has been pushing to speed up hiring and has seen a surge of applicants for each advertised position. The NWS continued to process candidates during the 43-day government shutdown, they said, given the high priority placed on boosting staffing in order to ensure the agency fulfills its mission to protect lives and property. The NOAA office officials said the agency has announced more than 180 positions so far and will keep hiring next year until the 450 positions are filled. At that point, however, the NWS will still be smaller than it was at the start of the second Trump administration. NOAA spokesperson Kim Dosters told CNN that the NWS is properly staffed to meet our mission of predicting weather hazards and providing essential services at all levels to keep communities informed, and we remain fully ready for the winter season ahead. Following the voluntary reassignments of 45 employees to vacant NWS field jobs last summer, the NWS continues to broaden the pool of talent on the front lines of the agency by hiring mission-critical positions where increases in staff levels have been deemed beneficial, Doster says. She said the agency is on track to hire the remaining staff by the end of the 2026 fiscal year. So, again, this is something that was a vital issue, is a vital issue that was broken by DOGE, by the Trump administration. And while they are trying, the departments, the NWS, is trying to fulfill and like fix the problem by rehiring, that's taking way more time than we would like, or that, and still would not even be back up to the conditions before Trump administration and before DOGE. How is claiming to create policy and an agenda around people with merited positions equate to firing 550 individuals from the NWS, professional positions where people have went to school for, educated themselves, got degrees, and have years of experience, professional experience for these positions. It's not like the NWS can just hire anybody off the fucking street and do these types of jobs. You just can't hire some random DEI person just because of a color or whatever, race or age or whatever. Like, they have to meet criteria, professional criteria, merited criteria. And yet you allowed for DOGE to fire these individuals in the name of doing away with fraud and abuse. Again, it just shows that this administration, from the get-go, did not know what they were doing. And were just allowing stuff to happen in the name of breaking the system. And in the name of breaking the administrative state. Causing chaos. Just for chaos sakes. Without a plan to actually fix it. And then once they realize that something was fucked up and broken, and that there's an actual problem with that one thing being fucked up and broken, they just, oh well, okay, we'll just rehire them back, figure it out, and oops. Sorry, we didn't know. And now it's being left up to the actual professionals and merited people to try to hire in, once again, professional and merited people to put back in these places that you removed. You can't say that you're an administration about merit when you quite literally fire people with merit. And not only that, fire people with merit with people without merit. Think about that one. Because DOGE, Elon, and the 20-year-old cronies that were with him destroying all these agencies and firing people and getting into all kinds of secret information that we still to this day do not know how much was how much was taken, how much data was stripped from our agency information on regular people. These criminals, they were not merited to do that job. But they were given the authority to fire people who were merited. I don't want to hear anything about merit when it comes to the Trump administration. Trump is not merited for president. Hell, his followers have said that themselves, how he's not, he doesn't come, he's not a politician, he's a businessman. Okay, well then how does that merit him to be a president? That's pretty simple. Okay, then. And then all the members of his cabinet, none of them are merited to do the positions that they are doing either. There's nothing about this administration that is merited. They're all BS. They're all a bunch of puppets doing the whims of Trump or the whims of Project 2025 or the whims of America First agenda or the whims of whatever of Israel or the whims of powerful rich oligarchs and CEOs. Or the whims of their own insidious intentions. Let's hope that going into this winter season, that even with the shortfalls, I'm sure that those who are there are professional enough to do the absolute best that they can, even short-staffed, overworking themselves more than likely, to make sure that they can be as accurate and warningful that they need to be or can be with that short staff, to try to make sure that we are as safe as we can be going into this winter season. Because as I say, events, weather storms, winter storms can be very deadly. And people need information as fast and as quickly and as efficiently and as accurately given as they can. But let me know what you think. And until next time, peace, Clear Talk, I'm out.